Let me just start this.
This is To Wit. Damn it. Hold on. This is To Wit, a podcast about, God damn it.
A podcast about cussing.
And doing life.
A podcast for women,
in tech.
Doing life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So close. Someday. What's funny is that, you don't need to decide on bits because the bits just happen. The fact that Melinda's never going to remember
our
5
own
years
tagline.
ago what we used to say when we started.
It is a funny thing, memory. But I also clear my cache and don't care.
Clear your
my brain cache. Don't care. Like, be like, well, you should remember that. No, I don't want to.
There is a point where I just restart it and lose all the tabs.
Yeah.
My actual computer, more than my brain probably, but...
Yeah. Well, I was
Hello,
saying...
Melinda Smith, how are you?
Hello. I wanted to tell you about our user group, because I don't go to them very often, but I'm trying to do more, because I want to be in person a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But we were laughing because they were doing the salary survey, and then there's a lot of new people there, and some people have been in it for a while, but they were talking about, they started about certifications. And I was like, how many do you think it matters for salary? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, back in my day, there were only 4 certs. I was like, I had a Dev 401 and I studied from a notebook.
Retired cert. I don't want to talk to you.
Then we were talking about Trailhead. And again, I was like, back in the day, there were only 3 trails.
10 years of Trailhead, man. That's crazy.
10? That's bananas. There's so many now. At one point in time, I was like kept up. I had them all. And then, I don't know, something happened and I was like, I can't do it. I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I think it's tough because since we were around before Trailhead, I started going to it mainly to learn new concepts. I never went back and really did the ones about stuff I knew already, unless I needed to for, some existing core feature my new company was using that I hadn't used before or something like that. But
I game the system now.
What?
I game the system now. If you're going to give me multiple choice, I need the hands-on ones in order to learn.
You're tricking yourself out of learning by going straight to the multiple choice.
Yeah, because I was like, how well do I know this?
I would like to interrupt everything for a moment to talk about the fact.
Breaking news.
Lane Bryant, I discovered last year, has invented the secret cleavage button in button-up shirts. So as a 42, let's go with the current bra I just bought as an O. I didn't even know the letters went that large. Let's go H-ish, right? I've got some ladies to carry around. So I just never wear button-up shirts. Because the Gap is the worst. It just is hi, look into my bra. So they have a secret button.
I know people that are just listening. I need to see though. Is it just a double or?
Well, yeah. So it's between the two, but it's it's only, you can't see from the front that there's an extra button there. Oh. It's just only in the back part.
Huh. Yeah. I've had that happen sometimes when a shirt was too small, but not just regularly because.
Yeah, I just, the Gap is, so I bought another one.
That's kind of fun. In my head, it's like the ticker tape, breaking news.
Breaking news. Even if you have big boobs, you can wear plaid shirts that you haven't worn in a decade, even though it's spring and you don't really need to wear plaid shirts anymore.
Well,
it's windy today, so it's very cold, windy.
I hate the wind.
Even though it's sunny.
So passionately.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
I was walking out of Costco yesterday and I'm like, it would be such a lovely day if it weren't for the fucking wind. And I was like, I fucking hate the wind. And then I had that moment of but I'm sure there's things, the world, nature that needs the wind.
Yeah.
Pollinating wind, and something like that.
We went out on the boat. We have a shitty pontoon boat that Brad bought to go fishing on. And we live near marina, so we can literally just go get on the boat and go. And we were sitting after work the other day. We were sitting there and we're like, it's nice out. We should just go on the boat. And then
on the boat.
Let's go. So we took the dogs. We went on the boat. Kristi is not fully approved to drive the boat alone. as evidenced by the fact that I just don't think I know how the throttle works. I understand that that's a word. Like, I think I just don't drive stick. And so there's concepts.
You have to shift on a boat?
So there's like, here's the thing. You have to idle sometimes, but then you also have to, so I think it's more to go in gear. You have to push the thing. But then I was trying to turn the key and push the thing. So I had to like use two different hands. And then I was like turning the key. It was not ideal. And then of course it's always in high pressure situations, right? So we, pause, back up a minute. Hurricane Helene that came to the Charlotte area late last year.
I was like, tell the story.
Swept away our entire dock. So not just our boat. The day of the hurricane was actually okay, but then we have a series of dams from a lake at the top, and like the water was going over the dams, so they had to open them. So like 3 or 4 docks just float away. So they kind of found it it had banged into this trestle bridge, which I actually saw a train go across the other day. I didn't realize there were actual real train bridges that
still use it.
It was just like old bridges. So I was like, look, it's a train. And Brad's like, yeah. Anyway,
good job.
He got a new boat, but it's parked like in the equivalent of the alley at one of the docks that's still there. So he's in like not a real parking spot.
Uh-huh.
So you have to go and turn, which the other spot we got was at the very end. So you basically just went into it, and it was pretty. So the ideal is that one person jumps out with a rope onto the dock, and you can just pull the boat. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you can just kill the engine, but you got to kind of get it the right way. So Brad logically sort of decided that he should be the jumper offer because honestly, he was afraid I would fall into the water and not make it on the dock, which is, I mean, it's kind.
I don't jump from boats very often.
That I'm not a good first mate yet, always. So then it stalled. And so then you have to, right? Okay, you got to go into neutral. You got to do, so I'm like trying to go into reverse, stalls. And he's like, we're going to hit the rocks. I was like, oh my God, this is the most, like, we just took a relaxing sunset boat cruise. And now it's like.
Let's just fix that relaxation.
So, yeah, we figured it out. And then the side door wouldn't open. So we just had to pick the dogs up to get them on the dock. They just look so confused.
And they're not
when you do
small.
No, they're 50 pounds. So, but yeah, they just look so like, what's happening?
Yeah, when you pick a big dog up, they're like, legs.
They do like it though. They stand there with a little wind in their fur, walk around. And so it's good. But anyway, so yeah, it was nice to just go out. I drove. Getting out wasn't as bad. I can go into forward pretty okay.
Yeah. So you have to be the jumper next time.
Well, but also I just need to learn. Like, it's fine. No one's mad, but it was just like, that's actually one really good feature of him. Like,
he just doesn't get mad.
Well, we call it, I feel some kind of way. So it's like, I'm not mad, but I'm kind of annoyed, but it's fine. But also, it's just like, sometimes we just miscommunicate. And then it's like, I think I'm operating under the assumption that this is happening and he thinks this is happening. And so it's like just this weird friction point, but it's never like I literally ordered groceries to the wrong grocery store for pickup and sent him to pick up groceries, which he thought I was going to go. And I thought he volunteered to go. So he goes by himself and it's literally, they've never heard. He has to go inside and they're like, we've never heard of you. We don't have an order for you. And it turns out 30 minutes away is where I ordered the groceries.
30?
So I just went and I had a user group the next day, so it was fine. But
I went to Starbucks this morning.
Ooh.
Olive likes cake pop and a croissant. So like maybe on Fridays or sometimes before school, I make her some protein to eat and I'll get her that. She stayed home today because she had like a terrible headache and a headache behind her eyeball.
Ooh.
And I was like, dude, I get it. I mean, she's on her period this week too. And if you remember being young, how like hard it is and like how everything's aggressive and everything hurts. So I kept her home, but I still went and got the Starbucks. But I'm standing there. I prepaid. And they're like, what do you need? I was like, oh, just bakery items, standing there. And they're like, well, what, are you waiting for a friend? I was I mean, is that what we're calling croissants? Yes, then yes. And I waited and waited and waited. And she asked me what I want, packed it up. And then I looked at the app and I was like, oh, I never hit go. I got distracted. And she was like, if you just hit go now, then here's your items.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks.
Yeah. You know, what's fun? I just learned today that Asana, the project management tool,
I use it. Go
will
on.
send you an email and be like, did you mean to finish sending this comment? Because I never hit go.
Oh, that's smart.
Because in some systems, because we can't just all agree. Sometimes enter means send a message. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's annoying. And
well, at least
it's
Slack
not.
gives you 2 options. That's nice.
Yeah. But it's inconsistent. So I must have just hit an extra line. But it also explains
that's
why no one
smart.
commented back. So that's good. I thought I was being ignored.
Asana. So, this is not brought to you by Asana.
No.
Speaking of radio voice, guess what the fuck I'm going to do? I'm so excited. So I think I told you that I wanted to do voiceover classes. I've wanted to do voiceover work for years and years and years. And I found the class and I pulled the trigger. So this one is more of like it's voiceover and actor speaking, which I'm not trying to be an actor, but I thought the description sounded a bit more of what I want, and maybe being like a presenter or speaking at events or whatever. Okay. And then there's there's layers where you layer in voiceover and then 2, and then they get to like 3 where they help you like prep a demo for like commercials and stuff. And I've done that through broadcasting school. I don't know if I'm like trying to like get a job, but I'm excited about it. I can use my radio voice.
What's your goal? You want to be be a voice hand model?
I don't know. If I'm being real honest, I am obsessed currently with taking out of my vernacular. Not completely, but I notice it when I talk to text, how often I use it, and it sounds stupid. So I have to go back and erase all of the likes out of a text message. And I don't say a ton. I learned that when I was doing sales and radio.
Like Toastmasters-y, like learning to
No,
speak?
It's just at the Denver Center for Performing Arts. I think it really is classes so you can like get work. And if it segues to that would be fun. I would love to do audiobooks. I have no interest in doing the commercials it'd be fun to do maybe kids movies or something, but it's not like a goal. I just have always wanted to. And I think it would be fun to learn how to speak. I don't know. So I start that soon.
Volunteered in Boston at a place that read, I guess it was mostly textbooks. I don't remember if mine was a textbook or like just a book, but it was like volunteers. So you would go and do a chapter, right? And then trade with the person, which thinking as a blind person, right? Or a person who just uses their ears and listens to audiobooks. I can't decide if one voice that you maybe don't like would be more annoying than various voices every chapter.
I love the audiobooks that have many actors, so I would pick that. But it's also not
going to be the voice of Gaston or whatever, right? It's just that I'm going to read this chapter and I might read it different, right, than the next volunteer who comes to read the next chapter. I don't know. It was just an interesting.
Well, a textbook is different than like a book too. I love the audiobooks that have characters. And then one series I listened to recently had characters and sound effects.
Okay, this is like a type of, my sister talked to me about this. This is like a type of audiobook that it's called like
so fun.
Whatever.
The one I got, dramatic reading or dramatic
I'm not gonna be able to
rendition. I could look it up. But it was great. It was like listening to a movie. It was
fun.
I enjoyed it a lot. And the third book is out, and I think Black Onyx, it's the whole Fourth Wing series, and everyone is obsessed, and I refuse to listen to it until they release the dramatic, because I don't want to just listen to the reading. I've listened to the first 2.
To his audiobooks?
Yeah, so I've listened to the first 2 that it's the dramatic reading.
There's a lot of like hearing other voices in your head because they have their connection with their dragons.
Yes.
So they just hear the dragon voices.
I like it.
That's a good one. Good job. I approve.
It's so long.
I've read them all as books. But I'm not like obsessed with them.
I enjoyed them a lot. But
I feel
obsessed. I mean, 2 things. What I'm currently obsessed with.
Okay.
season 3 of Yellow Jackets. I told Josh when the season came out, are you prepared for it to be my entire personality again? I watched the show twice when it comes out. I read all the Reddits, all of them. I refresh newest. It's a bit much, but I love it because it's nuanced. It's not just a show. Okay. There is every scene has the symbolism. Did you hear that? That, harkens back to season 1. She was sitting under that photo. Remember that photo is there's all these little things that make it more intriguing to watch. Sure. Because they're trying to
harken back.
Yes. The other thing was, dear listener, we, as you know, this is 3, are doing loose formatting. We do have things that we're going to do. We'll still talk about Salesforce-y stuff. We have little things that we want to brag on people and glimmer moments and things like that. So if it seems, I guess we were always unstructured. Yeah, I was if it seems unstructured, that's by design, but it's not like we had a structure before. We just had to guess.
It just is what it is. You get what you get.
And you don't throw a fit.
But I'll brag on somebody. Can I brag on somebody?
Please.
Is that what we're doing? Okay, I want to brag on the lovely and talented Jen Lang, who is a wonderful human here in Charlotte. And she is now the co-leader of the nonprofit user group. And she did just a wonderful presentation this week at the user group meeting, which I attend even though I'm not a nonprofit because I like Uncle Mark buying me lunch and because I know things and because she was talking about dynamic forms. Oh. And I just appreciate it's such good balance in the world, right? A, that Salesforce brought me this human in my life. B, she's so prepared and she had researched it and she had her printouts and she's just on it. That. And it's planning out her calendar for the rest of the year. And she's wonderful. She planned me a surprise birthday party. Well, a surprise of what we were going to do. We went and painted pottery. And then we went to lunch at a place, or dinner, I guess, at a place that we've been talking about wanting to go, but not going to,
I love this.
With people I love. And so it's just very thoughtful. And it's a really good balance of my crazy and her not as crazy methodicalness, right? But it balances out. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I just really appreciated her presentation this week and her
I love that.
Trying the different things, giving good different examples, just really thinking it out and doing well with it, which is hard for me. So thus I appreciate it in other people.
Dynamic forms, as in Salesforce forms?
Oh, dynamic pages.
Oh, yes.
So, and actions, right? And just all the things. So what's really funny about that,
I haven't done that in a while.
I thought that's what Lightning was in the beginning. I thought it was I'm going to have this page and I can just drag all the things. And they're no, you still have the details component and the related list component. Calm down. But now, across most objects, you've got the dynamic forms, so you can do a lot more. But she made some really good points about how you can go too far for yourself as an admin, right? You can get into conditional visibility weeds, real quick. Because a lot of people are saying, maybe I'll get your opinion on this, that they as a replacement to record types, that you can use visibility on dynamic forms, which I don't know. I guess page layout differences is one part of record types. To me, the controlling pick list part was always part of the distinction from if I wanted to use record types. They've bit me in the ass recently, so I kind of find them annoying, but I've only started actually using dynamic pages / forms in one of my flows and one object. So I'm still sort of old school and or just never prioritize taking the time to change on my page layouts.
But you can get in the weeds. I love that you can pull a lookup field's values onto a layout.
But it doesn't feel like it highlights it as much. It just says the field name. I kind of wanted to say account.
But because of that, it's hard to tell. So I'm working on a project that the case layout is mostly related record components, the details, and pulling through a bunch of fields from the person account. So sometimes I'm I don't know where this field is. Where does this come from? Like, I can't find the field. It's like if I'm trying to debug something or find something. And I was like, where's the field? And then, you hit edit and then it's just like 4 little fields and then it goes away. And I was like, where did they go? So that it can be kind of in the weeds, but I guess it's not bad. It's not, we didn't have to write 15 formula fields to pull
right.
the fields over.
It's trade-offs, right? But
yeah.
When she made a good point about, like you start and then you've got like your second quote unquote could be record type. And like, can you manage that with visibility? But once you get into 5, 15, whatever, right? Then, you're as an admin, your edit page becomes so long, you can't even find what you're trying to do. The other fun thing that she brought up and reminded me about is custom permissions, which sort of break my brain. But basically, a custom permission is just nothing. So my analogy, it's like a bracelet you get at a concert. So in and of itself, it does nothing. It's a bracelet, right? It's a permission that you can put in a permission set and give to someone. But then in validation rules, in dynamic page conditional visibility, etc., you can use that custom permission to grant access, right? So it gets you access to the VIP area because that's the rules and you have it, right? So
that makes sense because when you do like the filtering on a component, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. It's not the profile, it's not the user. Like, ugh.
Yeah, people in different profiles, people in different whatever. So you can just make a thing, give it to whoever you want, and then use it in your rules so that you don't have to do profiles and permission sets. So
I just learned something new.
Thank you. I learned that the first time from Stephanie First at Dreamforce, like who knows how many Dreamforces ago. And it's just one of those things I never think about at the time, but it's a good, like, because we have certain people who do finance things, and like one of them's in support and one of them is in the finance department. I don't even know, operations profile probably. And then me. So we're like all doing different things, but we might need to see the same section of fields that other people don't need to see. So
I like it.
Yeah.
To have multiple page
you learned
layouts.
something new today.
I like your brag on.
You got, oh yeah.
Brag on.
Good. Thanks. Good job. She'll be at Southeast Dreamin'. So I don't remember. No, she's not speaking. I know someone else that got selected to speak from here in Charlotte. They're doing a Squashing Bugs Ghostbusters themed session.
That's cute. I like it.
So
I would probably be interested in that because I do that all day now. I was talking to my bestie who she was like, she's in, she works for a nonprofit, CASA. There are all the divisions. It's for like children or young families. Gosh, I'm going to get it wrong. Either like homelessness or they don't have enough. So she works with children a lot, or children that have been taken from families due to, I think, drugs and stuff. So she helps these kids out. Mm-hmm. So she was saying, had you asked me, years ago, I was applying for work, to work nights and weekends. She'd be like, abso-freaking-lutely not. And she says, that's literally all I do. And I said, funny, you should say that because as of September, I would only apply solution architect consultant. Like I really want to do more of the leading and not the building. And I legit build all day. All day. I have one project I'm on. I haven't even talked to the client. All I do is build. And I was like, all right, well, exact opposites are working out for me.
I like that.
Speaking of Southeast Dreamin'.
And they stay there. And they stay. Oh, sorry. I veered off into singing songs.
What song is that?
All They Do Is Win.
Oh, yes.
All They Do Is Win, win, win. What do you mean you couldn't tell what song it was from my beautiful singing? But I interrupted you, as I am wont to do.
I am going to keynote Southeast Dreamin'. I was asked. Danny emailed and asked me.
Of course
I know.
You were. That's super exciting.
I'm very excited. It was on the heels of my LinkedIn post, and if you know, you know. And I think she was looking for someone, I believe the topic was already chosen, like advocacy. And then she stumbled on that and was like, yes, absolutely. That's the person. So I was like, sure, why not? This makes me hella nervous. And but of course I said yes, because gotta say yes. Gotta say yes.
Try new things.
The LinkedIn post. Boy, oh boy. did not think any way, shape, or form that it would have this kind of reception.
Yeah, you've been getting a lot of feedback on your commentary?
Yeah, lots of messages privately. I don't know, there's 380 some, I don't know, reactions and like 70 some comments. It was a lot. I had a conversation with Leah McGowan because of it, and her and I are going to try to do, we're not posting this anytime soon, a LinkedIn Live to try and get back on, hey, what is the community to us? What's the community to you? What's changing and why?
Okay.
I don't know how much she's, very open. Obviously, there's things that can and can't be said. I said, I'm going to have to ask about the Patrick comment. And she explained that, and she explained how she's going to break that down. And it was, it was a joke. He was trying to be funny. And I said, I guess maybe, but just right now, it's just it was poor timing and weird. Like it didn't go. So yeah, hopefully that will go well. I think that she wants to be able to highlight that, hey, they're still 100% looking out for the community, and the community matters, and they're still here. Oh, oops, we had the lack of communication and clarity and transparency, and hold them accountable for that. And I think there's also a side of the conversation too of holding our community responsible, accountable for, not acting like little brats sometimes. And why can't I have this? And I do nothing on the platform, but I should have all of these things. So I'm generalizing, but I think we're trying to have a happy mix of, hey, this is maybe where Salesforce screwed up on other things, like the well-architected team. That was a mess up. Like I think that was poorly handled. The topic the comment, I guess, at the keynote, the lack of transparency. Like I told her, if things are changing in the community, okay, cool. Just tell people what's going on. If you're resetting, that's fine, but everyone feels kind of disconnected. And then advocating for the community, and then also kind of having the conversation of, there is a crop of peoples, I would say in the last 5-ish years or so, that it is transactional. It seems very, what can I get? What can I do to get a golden hoodie or thing?
Was always there?
Maybe. Yeah.
I feel like there's almost always been someone who like is messaging you to try to get nominations for MVP, or is just trying to get the things with, it's like showing up to meetings to try and get certification vouchers or something for meetings they don't even attend.
Yeah. And I was brought that up too. And Mallory was like, where do you think that happened? Or, because I didn't notice it until older, but maybe it's when you're in it longer.
You're just kind of more immune.
Or you don't, I don't know how to, it's not like you didn't notice things when you were new, but you're so new and kind of trying to do your thing and trying to connect with the community after you've been in it for a while. Maybe it's, you see things that you wouldn't have seen because you're like in the mix, and now you're kind of, I've been doing this for a little bit. I know where the people are. I know how to reach out to others. And then when you hear about what seems like people stepping on others and things like that to get to a golden hoodie or whatever, you're like, ew. But you might be right. We were in it, so
too, like any group. If you get 100 people in a room, they're not all going to get along necessarily. Totally. Even if they have certain things in common, right? They're going to do things differently. They're going to have different priorities. They're going to like, I don't know. I guess sometimes I'm not as surprised personally when you find out that there's, let's just say, like bad apples in a group that are making people feel some kind of way, right? Like, whether it's intended or not, right? I think I've been trying to be better about assuming good intentions and just like, hopefully you didn't realize you were being a big asshole.
It is weird to notice that. I felt, 10 years ago, 8 years ago of like, everybody's so welcoming and they are. Then just a little bit longer, you're right. People have personalities and some aren't nice and some are vocal about comments of others that you're like, oh, why would you say that?
Well, and then
But
also
it's still
sometimes
just
it's
people in
like,
the
oh,
world.
that's too much, but that's not for me to say if you're too much. Like, so, but I mean, many people on the internet would say something because that's the power that the internet has now, right? You can just say whatever you want in a
No
comment,
consequences. Yeah.
right? With somebody you don't even really know. So,
I hope it goes
um,
well. We know we're not going to be like a loose format, things to touch on. I think that they really want to come back to the happy place
mhm.
of a community. And like you said, it's yes and no. I mean, if there's 20 people, it's easier to keep 20 people happier than
Yeah,
2,000
no one's ever
people
going to
or
be
whatever.
happy ever.
No, but I think that there's just been a lot of things lost. We're not all in one place anymore. We used to all be on Twitter and that's gone. I don't ever get in the Trailblazer community. Like it's in LinkedIn, sure, but I'm not on there and I would think it's work things, but also so I think that there's a lack of like connection as well because
Hmm.
we don't have those things. The user groups, a lot of them aren't doing meetings as much as they used to after COVID.
Or getting as much attendance for the same meetings that they used to.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's I think a connection issue, and especially now the world is, our nation and the world is kind of topsy-turvy, and I think it's adding to the angst of wanting connection and wanting the thing that seemed like a safe bubble to never change. But people change, companies have to grow and they do their thing and they're going to do things that we don't like and we have to just deal with it because we don't work for them.
Yeah, I think sometimes too, I don't want to like only talk about this today necessarily, but
Yeah, we can
I think
move on after
sometimes
this.
people forget too that like Salesforce is a company. Like, right?
Agreed.
Like this isn't a volunteer group of friends, you know? So I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah, profit's still a bottom line, right?
oh, there's a reminder for a thing I'm not going to do today.
Ooh, fun.
There's that.
Um, you had an ADHD thing you were going to tell me
Oh,
about.
yeah, body doubling. Speaking of community, my new favorite thing, slash, not that new, but I had talked to my therapist about it and then kind of hadn't really done it. So, once upon a time, it's
Not
weird to
long ago.
explain to
No.
people that don't have ADD, I think, kind of, but essentially, body doubling is either physically or zoomingly somebody being with you while for a fixed period of time while you do the thing you said you were going to do. So I love it because I have people in my life like Jen Lang who came and sat here in my office and read a book for an hour while I worked on my taxes.
No, taxes.
The worst. Okay. But then also I have ADD friends around the country that I meet with once a week for an hour. And so we do like 5 minutes of catch up. How are you? And then we each say what we're going to do. We mute. And having that person's face there on one of my screens as I'm doing the thing helps bring me back to not getting distracted, right? And trying to focus.
It's
So,
weird. It's a weird thing that just a person in the room matters. I read something online that uh, I guess this woman and her best friend literally live blocks away from each other, but life, busy jobs, families. So they picked Friday, let's say, and they just meet at one house and do the stuff together. And they get so much more work done and they get to talk. And you would not think that because it's not the same as going to an office where plenty of people say, I do not get enough done. The office is a distraction, maybe because it's more people. But I think on the outside, when you would think, oh, two people together, no, you're not getting anything more done. I absolutely get more done body doubling. I've done it virtually before. It's easy to forget if you move out of that screen that the person's there. You're like, oh, God.
yeah.
I like to body double with strangers.
Ooh, okay.
They don't even know. There's a little,
They didn't realize they were participating.
yeah. I was like, we're friends now. There's a little cafe wine bar called Hello Darling, just right down the road from me. I can walk there. It has all this cute little mid-mod furniture. So they like little low tables, couches. One couch has like a little blankie that you could snuggle up with, and booths, just all this comfiness, and the vibe is just easy to work. And the tables are fairly close, so it's easy for me to sit next to someone, but I feel like I get more done. And I'll usually have a latte. And if it's like, I like to go on Fridays, if it's Friday afternoon, I'll get a latte, a water, and a glass of wine and just sit there. It's lovely.
Do you sneakily eavesdrop on people?
Yes, I'll put earbuds in and then I listened to these two gentlemen's conversations for hours. They talked about their kids, and one was from Argentina, and they were like bragging on each other. And oh, you that's so great, you did this. It was really just the most wholesome to eavesdrop on. But I think they busted me. I busted myself. This one girl came near our table. She was getting a picture taken of her with a birthday sash, and I just I was like, oh, happy birthday. And then obviously that didn't give me away, but she did not. The guy next to me is like, happy 21st. And she says, oh, 30. And I said, no, just take it as a compliment. And I said, oh no, I just outed myself that I absolutely can clearly hear what he says every 5 seconds.
That's okay. I once sat next to somebody that was basically coming out as, I want to say that they were in like a throuple or some kind of like to their dad vibe, some kind of, and it was funny because I have a friend who lives a non-traditional lifestyle, and I was like, oh, she just mentioned this book, and he's like, oh, I totally have. It's just funny, like all the
I have a friend
just eating my
her
salad.
and her husband have a non-traditional marriage, and I forget sometimes because it's not like we hang out with any of their others. But I forget sometimes. I'm like, oh, fascinating. But they are kidless. They never wanted that. They got married late in life. They both had full lives before that. And it was very much a dialogue of that's what works for us. And I know that there's a lot more clarity of conversation and boundaries, but I'm always a little fascinated because I don't know.
Other people's lives are always interesting. How other people do things is always interesting.
Totally. Yeah.
Especially like money. To me is so interesting how couples handle money. Joint and separate money.
I think if it was different in my household, I wonder how I would be. I control all the money. I pay all the bills. I do the taxes. With Josh, he travels. He's been flying for 13 some years. He can't often do things timely. Like he just can't. So though I'm making it sound like it was accidental, we definitely sat down before we got married, and I said, someone is going to have to take care of the bills, or we do a joint account, or we pick things to pay. What do you want to do? And he says, you've been keeping a Google spreadsheet for 20 years of your budget, right? And I was like, yes. He said, you do it. And I was like, I would love to.
I think it's so my ex-husband and I tried various combinations of options. At the time, he made more money than me. And when Brad and I started dating, the thing that makes the most sense to me made the most sense to him, right? So we figured out our joint monthly expenses. We take that amount as we each contribute a percentage based on our income. So
that's smart.
As he's creeping up more on me, the balance is shifting, right? But so it started out like 60-40 kind of, but then the money that you have left in your own account, I can go buy dumb stuff at, TJ Maxx and Home Goods and the craft store and whatever. And it's not like a problem,
We started that way, each a personal account and the joint. But I since I'm doing everything out of the joint, it seemed dumb for me to have my own. For Josh, it makes sense because I just put money in there. So when he just does whatever he wants with it. Right. And that really became too, because I balance only until, I'm very fortunate only up until like the last couple of years, I haven't had to keep all my receipts in balance to the penny. But he wouldn't keep receipts. And I was like, I am going to hit you in your throat, sir. So I was like, you get your own account. I'm like, I can't deal with this. I'll just put money in there. So now after all these years, he makes jokes all the time that he gets an allowance or a stipend. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that, are you just stating facts or making a joke? Because it is just a fact. And yes.
You want it to change? No? Okay. You're just mocking me for no reason.
What's funny too is like, I have automated stuff that goes in like twice a month. And I put more in there for something. The other day, he's like, why do I have so much money?
Did I get a bonus?
What's wrong? Why do I have so much money?
Did I get a husband bonus?
Yeah.
See, this is why we can't have a structure, because we just ended up talking about couple finances. Who knew?
I talked about everything I wanted to.
Doubling and spying on people. By the way, everyone in the world, please know, I'm an eavesdropper. If you're sitting next to me and you're texting, I'm going to read that shit.
Yes.
Not because I want bad things. I just
curious.
I'm just so curious.
Oh,
Who are you talking to? What are you doing?
I will look at your emails. I did look over the shoulder. I think he was across the aisle from me on an airplane once. And the person he was with got up into the bathroom, and the person very much went into an incognito window, emailed someone. And I got like, I'll be home soon. I'll be off the plane soon. And hopefully I get to see you soon. And then closed it out before like she came back from the bathroom. And I was like, oh, naughty. You need one of those screen things where people can't see. I read all of your business, sir.
Get better at keeping secrets,
seriously. So people need how to be sneaky 101. They're failing.
What topics are left on your Post-it?
That one I don't want to go into. I was just that client that I'm going to get, old boss, AI. I'm over it right now.
Oh, no, you don't want to talk about AI? I'm
so
surprised. We've talked about it. You don't want to,
Oh, that's what I was going to say about the user group. I totally forgot in the beginning.
Oh.
Someone was talking about their career trajectory, but they'd been in tech for 20 years and Salesforce for like 8. And we're joking about Agentforce, and we'll see what the salary is, the salary survey next year with all the bots. And he made the joke of, oh yeah, I've been doing Agentforce for 6 years. I was like, it's such a simple joke that really tickled me. Just those stupid little Salesforce jokes. You're like, hee.
I thought it was agent like job descriptions that are like 6 years experience with Agentforce.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I don't think that's. We can only have so much experience with Lightning before it didn't exist, sir.
It's like 10 years now, too.
I just think it's interesting. We're going to talk about AI anyway, because my AI commentary that I wrote down was about dependencies. I think it's really interesting that, like, not like we're not talking about it or whatever, but you've got to use Data Cloud. You've got to use, like, Einstein Activity Capture. There's all these dependencies that to be able to use some of these features. So it's like, I specifically work at a company that has a competitive product to EAC. So that's like a pretty hard pass for the SDR agent. But it was just really interesting that it was like,
I didn't realize that. I just wrote that down.
Looks so easy, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I'm sure that some of the prompts stuff, like some of it that's like summarizing fields and your Salesforce data, I think maybe, I don't know. But yeah, we reached out about the SDR one, and there's some dependencies, which A, financially we weren't interested in, and B, product wise, Einstein Activity Capture has some surprising things. Like, if someone leaves a company, all their activity is gone. Who needs it? So, anyway.
I'm learning about interactions and interaction summaries.
Ooh. Well, you're going to be my authority now when I need to do it.
Yeah. I guess they don't expire and they're better reporting, to which I said, activities expire? I didn't know that.
Well, they just don't show up in reports after a year. They're still there in the feed. They just don't show up in reports, which is really annoying.
I just have rarely worked or leaned on activity report. It's so terrible. It's just, it's
How
not
many calls
great.
did you make today?
Yeah.
A lot of it is like more short term, right? So this month versus last month kind of vibes. But yeah, if you try and run a report for older activities, there's just nothing there.
Nothing. Okay. What's your super fave today, this week, this episode? I don't know why I made that so weird.
I don't know.
To be on brand.
My super fave is self-solutioning things in my house. I'm teaching myself 3D modeling. And so we have a 3D printer. So I'm making shelves for my kitchen. I bought marble filament that's like plastic that's going to print and look like marble, maybe somehow. And I'm going to make some shelves for my kitchen for my salt and pepper shaker collection.
Well, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, there you go. There's a random.
I like that
My favorite
stuff.
is that exists.
Yeah.
And
just make something out of it. I'm just going to make a shelf.
Well, I made these hooks for the shower, but the nice thing is I need to iterate. So like the basket hanging with the stupid suction cups that never stay suction cupped right on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So I made these hook things, but they don't account for like the weight. So then it's like kind of tipping out. But it's also good when I just like don't measure anything. And then
how are you going to learn?
Just take it down there. Girl measuring.
Yeah.
You know, it's as long as my foot, mainly. Yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably 6 feet. It's great.
It's fine. If not, I'll just move it again.
How about you, Super Favy? Yeah, if not, I'll just forget to return it and donate it. Or save it for years.
There's still more returns in my car because of that. Like, it's too hard. I have to go to a certain place.
I legit took freaking light bulbs back to Walmart.
Wow. Nice.
It's been too
long. I would
have
donated those to
they
the
didn't take them.
cabinet.
No,
what?
No, they didn't take them back because it's been more than 3 months. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't even have a receipt, but they look up your credit card and then they knew. So then I'm like, should I have just lied and not had a receipt and said I paid cash? And then would you have taken them back? Like,
probably.
Should I come back tomorrow?
Like, you want me to lie? I will.
When are you working again tomorrow?
What's your schedule?
Yeah. How can I come back and avoid you? But then also, I'm not trying to scam you. Like, I just bought the wrong dumb thing that's been hanging in my house for apparently more than 3 months. So the next time a tiny light bulb from my Christmas thing dies, it won't even help me because they didn't fit. So, what's your super fave?
Well, Yellow Jackets, obviously. I'm excited about it still. But I'm excited, and my super fave is I am super fortunate and grateful that I love to spend time and hang out with my mom and my grandma. We're going to Vegas again next week to celebrate her birthday. We're staying at the Fontainebleau, which has like the best restaurants. And
yay.
And then we're going to do the postcards from Earth at the Sphere. I think that's what it's called, the Darren Aronofsky thing. So it's fun. Last year, we just did all the museums. We did the Neon Museum, Mob Museum, and the Atomic Museum. Okay. And it was fun. And we went to the hotel has great restaurants. We don't even like really leave. Our favorite bar is like the middle lobby bar. And I just, it's great. Like I get to hang out with them. My grandma still is, she lives on her own. She still owns her own business. She'll be 88, I think, or 89. And for years, like we were talked about like a retirement community, because she has a community where she lives, but she would just be like, I want to live with those old people. Okay.
I want to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's go.
It should be fun. Well, she lives in Bullhead City, Arizona. So it's about 70 miles out of Vegas. Mom lives in Scottsdale. So it's just kind of the easiest.
Okay.
Because then she can drive in. She says that she can be on a plane fine. My mom says that it would hurt her back. I listened to my grandma. I was like, she'll be fine. And my mom's like, but she's not. She won't be. And I was like, she says she's great. This last year, this lady just brought over shots because she had heard this my grandma's birthday. They were freaking blowjob shots. And I posted this online, but I was going to teach my grandma how to properly take a blowjob shot. And my mom was like, no. I said, all right, fine.
Well, you'll have to teach me how to do it.
Oh, just hands-free.
Stop
yeah.
it. Okay, so let's just pause real quick before we go and talk about how awesome you are. How exciting that you get to have a keynote and that you're going to be a thing with Leah McGowan Hair.
Like, I'm excited. It was never my intention. I just felt I just felt some kind of way and put it out there. And look at that. Look at that.
Get it done.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Pew, pew, pew.
Stay witty.
I'll remember that one.
2 words.